Hey, so before I get into the video, I want to apologize for the quality. It is my first mock review, and I'm just kind of figuring things out, and I'm very kind of discombobulated, so you'll hear the sounds of things shuffling around, and it's a little all over the place, so I apologize for that, but I do believe the mock is very good, and so enjoy. Hello everyone, what is up? Mr. Odin here with my first ever mock review. I'm going to be reviewing my extension to the Ninjago City line. Ninjago City, I don't know what to call it, to be honest. You know what? The Ninjago City Plaza. It's mainly Prime Empire themed, because, I don't know, I made this a few years back, and I'm assuming that must have been the new season at the time or something, or, I don't even think it was, I don't know, truthfully, I don't know why it's Prime Empire themed, but it is. It's got a lot of cool locations. I've got some custom minifigures here. It's made specifically to connect to the markets. So, yeah, definitely not Prime Empire. That would have been Dragon's Rising already. But, you know, it's a pretty good custom, I think. I've made a lot of tweaks over the years. I'm going to try to show you everything we've got. Okay, so with the minifigures removed, I can show you how to separate each aspect. So, the top here just slips off very easily. And actually, you can take the roof off of the shack, which I'll show you in a second. This also slips. It's supposed to come off. Slight technical difficulties. I will be back in a second. Okay, and I'm back. So these are the three main sections of the build. We have the little shopping area over here. We have the mechanics layer, and then we have the little plaza and Buddy's Pizza. Yeah, so it turns out I filmed the walkthrough of the ground floor and didn't actually record it, so that's fun, but I can rectify that by just redoing it. So what we have here is a little plaza area, or I guess the main plaza is up front, but a walkway and hangout area, and then we have Buddy's Pizza. I want to mention, I know canonically Buddy's Pizza is not the place, like, where the Mechanics Workshop is. That's where Milton Dyer was. But just for the sake of, I guess just, like, space and stuff, I decided to just have it be the same. And because I want this to still be, like, a bustling, like, part of the Ninjago City, it is not abandoned. It's actually fully up and running. I guess maybe Milton Dyer and Unagami got it back up and running. But yeah, so this part was actually specific. I made this extension specifically to connect to the markets. And so we have right here is a railing which will which kind of lines up with the one by the bakery in the markets. And you have this little alley where you can do a, you know, a back alley motherboard sale. Sadly, I don't actually have the Old Town yet, so I don't have the motherboard, but I will be getting that hopefully soon, and then I can, I don't know, toss it in somewhere. But yeah, so coming over here, we have these three pillars, which hold up the upper levels, as well as the mechanics layer. It'll help hold up that, but these aren't the most secure in here, but they do a really good job keeping the little plaza above, like, stable. And they're kind of boring, but I made them all uniform. At some point I may upgrade them. But yeah, I think for what it is, they serve purpose well. So coming over here, we have little benches for, you know, your figures to eat if they want. Very simple bench design, like, genuinely nothing extraordinary. Like, I think I just essentially took, like, some of the benches from the Great Hall. But yeah, they work well. Then over here we have a bike rack, which I believe is canonical to the pizza, the pizza arcade place. And so I tried to recreate that. It's looks a little weird without the bikes in it, but, like, also not terrible. And when you actually have the bikes in it, I think it looks really good, and it works well to actually hold the bikes. So yeah, over here we have a grill, which I did use a build tutorial for this, but I made it a while ago, so I don't actually know who to credit for that. But if this was your work, thank you very much. Yeah, and then over here we have a little sign. I think it's from Master of the Mountain. But yeah, it can just indicate, you know, what you're or where you're going. And over here we have two connections because this area can serve both as like a corner piece, or it can be, you know, just a non-corner piece, I guess. And it can also be like I guess like an intersection point. You can put something here and here, and here and there. Speaking of putting stuff there, we have this little like pond with another technical. I did it in a similar fashion to the Ninjago City Markets, but I put a light instead of like a I guess technically those might be considered lights, but instead of like a little stone fixture. I don't know, I think it looks good. If you can see here, I tried to do the same thing they did with the coloring, where there's the light green like closer, and then as it gets like deeper, you use like black underneath, and I think it looks really good. Yeah. Then okay, so Buddy's Pizza, we have just some lanterns on the sides, you know, just help illuminate the area. We have this little design, which is copied on both sides for symmetry's sake. It's not like super intricate, but I think it looks good. I may be biased because I made it, but still. Next we have this little awning, standard red and white one connected by some clips. There's a small gap here, but when the mechanics layer is above, you can't actually notice it, so it's not a big deal. And then we have these steps here, which will lead into Buddy's Pizza. On this side, we have these like curtain awning things hanging off, and that same design. And then these snot bricks are blue because I didn't have any in red, but once again, once the roof is on and stuff, you can't really notice. And so it's not a big deal. Here, I also forgot to mention I kept up with the flower design that we saw in some of the other sets. So, you know, I tried to make it continuity, or like tried to make there be continuity. So then if you remove these figures, if you have, you know, I guess when you have your roof to the place on and you want to access it without taking it all apart, all you have to do is grab here and slide. It all slides out very easily. This is just like using spare parts. It doesn't look pretty, but it doesn't really need to. I mean, it serves its purpose. And also I want to mention that this entire mock actually was made out of spare parts, like I didn't some or anything, or like anything off of Bricklink, which I don't know, I'm proud about that. But yeah, if you come over here, you see like this little screen with a sticker that I think is from the Prime Empire waves, and that actually lines up with, hold on, with this little area, so you know your figures can come in, grab a like console or a controller and play that. And then there are these arcade machines. Once again, these don't look amazing, but they also don't look bad, and I also used a tutorial for these, but once again, I do not remember who. Yeah, but anyway, I think altogether, like, it's the interior, I think I need to redesign that at some point once my skills grow. But for now, and considering that it's just the interior, I don't think it's all that bad. And actually this checkered floor is actually a more recent addition because I recently updated it. Because the Buddy's Beach actually, I used to be made out of gray bricks, and then I decided that was too boring for Ninjago City. But yeah, I think for the first floor, that's really it. So give me a second, and I will move into the next level, which is the mechanics layer. So next up, we have the mechanics layer, which I know kind of looks just like a gray or a boring gray box, and it kind of is. That kind of fits the vibe. Yeah. On one side, we have this keep out sign, which points kind of to the walkway, going past the side of the building. And so I think that's just kind of funny because it fits with the mechanic. I think that's from Sons of Garmadon set, if I'm not wrong. And then here, which is the front or facing out towards like the grill and the benches, we have these like makeshift windows, which I genuinely think came out really well. Maybe I should have raised them because there's a gap there. Actually, I probably should do that. I'll probably update that at some point, but for how they look, actually, when they're on the thing, they actually look really good. And then over here, I just threw in a random sign I had from, this is from the Lego movie. And then around back, we have another one of these windows, but there's kind of no gaps, but it creates a cool detailing. And then on the bottom, there's actually like an indent for it to slip perfectly onto Buddy's pizza. And then there's a few ways you can separate this. You can take the roof off, and you can pull this out. And this is the mechanics layer. So I'm actually very proud of this. I think this is probably one of my best designs yet, because it's kind of basic and cluttered, but it works so well for what the place is. So I guess I'll also remove that, which, yeah, to give you a better look. So the first bit, I guess, that I'll get into is the main part here. On this wall, you have like a little rack for tools. You have a hammer, and then, I don't know, I guess this could be like a stun prod or something, whatever you really want to use it for. Coming over here, we have the like little workshop from the lighthouse from Skybound. Like, my lighthouse set is demolished, so I'm reusing this here, and I think it works really well. I clipped over here a crowbar and one of the mechanic's arms, which is kind of perfect. This piece does work really well. Get a good view there. And then here I have just like a normal minifigure arm, a few like just bits of metal, and then an extra leg. And I have Zane's blueprint because who knows, maybe the mechanic's basing his designs off Zane or trying to find a weakness. And then over here, I'm missing a hand. Oh, as you just saw, these hands aren't actually like stuck in place, except with gravity. But they look good in there, you know, little extra hand dispenser, and then I've got just like a couple console buttons. I think that one's from a Star Wars droid. But yeah, it's just like a simple hand holding thing, like, I don't know, just made with some snot bricks. Anyway, coming over here, we have just a little screen with for the mechanic to do some nefarious stuff, and we have this just a tile that I thought kind of looked good with the vibe. I think it's from Chima, from one of the Wolf sets. And then of course we have a stud shooter, because I don't know, like, out of all the guns Lego's given us, I feel like the stud shooter just works with the mechanic, which is rare for the stud shooter. Actually, good piece. But yeah, I guess it is good for a lot of customizations. Anyway, so clipped onto that panel, as you saw, is this little like sword forger, so to speak. Essentially, the point of this is that it's a sword in the works. And so there's some excess metal and stuff, but it's very easy to just slip the sword out if you want, and then put it back in. And it just goes right here to give some more nice features, like the entirety of the place. And then we have the wall you remove. So in one side, there's like a little blaster. I guess you can use it maybe as a welder or something, and then a fire extinguisher or a welder or whatever you really want to use it for, but it's just more tools. There's that one window. And then in here, we have some green goo. I'm fairly certain there was a purpose, or like there was a reason why I wanted it to be green when I made this. I just don't remember what. So if you know, let me know in the comments down below, because I would appreciate that. But yeah, and then it has this lid that says danger moving parts. So ignore the moving parts and just be like danger acid or whatever. I think this comes from the Garmadon volcano layer from the Ninjago movie. But this just slides on really easily. And boom. And then the roof. So like the bottom of this, it also has just like the perfect indents to fit right on in. And it has some pieces and stuff to hold the top on. Or like to hold the final floor on. So speaking of the final floor, I'm going to get into that. And actually, yeah, if you decide to keep it on the building while playing, this is how you can do it. And then you can, boom, and you can put the mechanic in, you know, and just have him, I don't know, do nefarious deeds. So I will be back in a moment. Okay, so here we have the final part of the set, which is this like little plaza shopping area, kind of based off of the market area in the markets, but just more space and stuff. Or I guess not even more space, but more like use of this. I don't know, more shops essentially. So it's so I guess I'll start off just by going over the sides. So like with the other sets, I tried to use the same like railing design with more whatchamacallit, advertisements. So we have the hot noodle dog, which I did put on the market area, so it's kind of fun. There's that, which I believe is from Bionicle. And then we have the Garmadon's little, whatchamacallit, his scientists from the Ninjago movie. And then I don't know what was on this, but I need to replace whatever it was. And then I stuck with the lanterns as well. It's used this essentially the same design. I think this head is technically a little bit darker, but it works. So going here, this actually will specifically connect into the area by like the tram on the markets, which I'll show that connection later in the video. But yeah, I think it's it's fun. We have these to hold it in, so it's a little narrow. And so for like shorter minifigures, it's a little harder, but as long as you have the hands up, it's not really that big of a deal. And taller minifigures, obviously. I'll grab Scott here. If his gun wouldn't get in the way. Taller minifigures can just like be no problem, you know. Actually, minifigures is something I'll be going over at the end of the video too, so stay tuned. So next up we have this little flower stall. It's very simple, just uses like the standard flower design. It uses the stall uses the design of the like little noodle shop in the markets. Oh, that isn't one place. I might need to add a little bit more securing stuff there. Security, that's the term. But yeah. And then the flowers can just kind of slide in and out. They get a little bit wedged sometimes, but I don't know, it helps keep them from falling out, so that's kind of nice. But you can just put your minifigure behind it and then have, you know, someone come shop at it. Or threaten the owner, I guess. Okay, so over here is a stand that I'm really proud of. It uses the design of the little vegetable stall or it's reminiscent of that design. And it's essentially ninja action figures. So I have one for each of the ninja, except I don't have a Zane one. So I think that's Mad Eye Moody from when he's trapped in the trunk. But, you know, it works. And eventually when I get a Zane one, I'll replace that. So yeah, you can literally just sell like the action figures of the ninja, which I think is a fun idea. It especially goes well with the model shop from the workshops. Because you can get like your Lego sets there, and now you can get, I guess, your minifigures here, if you want. So yeah, over here I repurposed the stand from that one Prime Empire set, which I think kind of works here. You know, Ninjago's always under attack, so I feel like you probably want some protection, so Okino can sell you some specialized Prime Empire weapons. It just uses the basic counter. And then in the back is just some weapons stuck in there for kind of, I guess, advertising purposes. Over here we have the hot noodle stand, so you can put, I don't know, Chen or one of his henchmen if you want this to be a branch of Chen's Noodle House, or just somebody else if you want them to just be peddling hot dogs. I did have to slightly modify the design because the cart had wheels, and I wanted this to actually be sturdy, so I just put some 1x4 bricks, but it works well. And you still got the whole serving thing, and you've got just, you know, you've got the whole thing. You still have the handle here for, I don't know, if you want to put wheels on it and roll it around, but it works. So then on this side I actually used geo like bars as the railing, which I think works really well. And then you see I have another lantern. I know they're being pushed up because just on the floor, but when they're actually sitting on top of the rest, it you know, it works normally. And then there's a security camera here, so you can watch the action going on all around. And then there's this here, which I just use for like display purposes. So if you want to put a flying figure in, you can. Okay, well, I knocked that down, but it's fine. And then moving on to this final building, this is the like gardener's shack. So it has the roof design. I kind of copied the one above the outhouse in the markets. A lot of this I did take from the markets, I'll be honest. But it's, I guess, inspired by, I should say. And then nice. So then if you come over here, there is a little planter, which I like the design of. It's simple, but it's unique, I'd say. And then there's another security camera here. So while the other one is watching what's going on below, this one's watching this floor. This is building kind of small and simple. But if you want, you can remove the roof, and get a little look inside. So, in it, we have a little spray bottle. Did I not make the back of this removable? That is a design flaw. Anyway, we have a little spray bottle, a bucket, a backpack. I tried to make a bag of fertilizer, which, like, with fertilizer spilling out of it, which I think for, like, I don't know, I was 16, 15 when I made this, which, not bad, all things considered. And then, of course, we have, right here, we have some tools. Don't ask me why there's a pickaxe and a hammer. It's just tools I had. And there's a shovel and broom for cleaning things up. You can use little cleaning droid from the gardens if you want. And this can be his little, like, shack for his materials. But it's a very simple design. And then this goes back on. And this hangs out by one, giving, I guess, like, a little bit of an awning. And there's no step up here. There probably should be, and I might add that in the future. But yeah, I guess last part is, before I get on to attaching it and figures, is this little part here, which is just garage doors and a bit of a railing. Which creates the nice, like, back rounded bit. So I guess as I was saying, corner / endpoint, below it works fine. Here, there's not really a place for people to continue on. So if you were to connect it to something else, I guess maybe you could, like, flip this down and that can be a walkway, or find some other creative method. I guess it could be used over the gardens or over the Zane's Memorial, although I also have a custom bridge over that, which I might show off. So yeah, I don't know. Right, I'm going to cut here, then I will film connecting it and figures, and I will see you all shortly. For you, it'll be no time at all, because editing. Bam! Okay, so connection. Sorry the lighting and stuff's a little bad. I don't have my lamp, well, my sister's lamp, which I stole, but I digress. So, yeah. I guess I should show you how this connects. These just kind of sit on here and then on that, and then obviously I showed you those clip in there. Right, but okay, right here we have the markets. I guess I'll show you a little layout I've got as well, because I don't know, I think I did quite well. And there's the bridge I talked about, which like I said, I'll probably do a video on that at some point. But yeah, so how we have it is it just slips right on in. Obviously, connection of the Ninjago city can be a little tricky, just getting all the like Technic to line up, but then you slip it right on. There should be a stud up. And so here, like I was saying, was that bridge or that railing like connectivity. And then there's the full alleyway, which I think works really well because it gives you enough space to display, but it's also like is an alley. So it still serves its purpose. And here is this connection, which also one thing I forgot to mention is this is dark gray because that's what I had. In an ideal world, it would be light gray, but for what it is, I don't think it looks all that bad. Anyway, so then here there is this little connection, and then I made sure to leave a gap so you could still access this mechanism for the gate of the trolley. And like you can still access all this, so it looks a little weird. Maybe put a railing here, I'm not sure. Tell me what you think, because I don't know. Like, it's not my favorite, but I don't hate it. So, yeah. So let me know in the comments what you think I should do there. But yeah, it's a very simple connection. It has the 2 points there and the 1 point here. Just because I have a very specific layout, like I showed, I'm not going to mess around with other possible orientations, and considering there's so many parts of the Ninjago city, there's just not, like, time for that. But I think, you know, I wanted to show this one off because this is how I intended it to work. And it's, yeah, it's a flawless, you know, you go boom, 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 it's all hard. I think, like I said, it looks really good, the connection. And I even, if you look over there, the, like, kind of curves, it's supposed to, like, line up, not being exact, but there's, like, there's a general pattern to it, I suppose. So yeah, I mean, I guess now all that's left to do is just show off the custom figures I have. I want to note, you know, figures obviously would be much more diversified for this, but given that this is just like meant to be a fun video and this isn't like a real set, I'm just going to show off custom minifigures because there's no point in showing off already existing ones. There are far better YouTubers out there with the ability to do that. Well, I guess actually quickly before I do that, I want to show you the ones. Like I said, those are the same, and then that stand there is supposed to be, it was the inspiration for this one. And so yeah, I guess there's nothing really more to do except to get on to the minifigures. Alright, so I'm here for the final section, which is minifigures. I have a wide range of them. I decided because in general, this MOC kind of has a lot of Prime Empire elements to do Prime Empire based minifigures. So these are almost entirely customs. There are a few official ones, but I figured there's no really point in showing off official minifigures. So I tossed in a few to like, I guess, to complete like the collection, so to speak. Most of these are purist customs, although a few I did paint, which I know might be a controversial topic, but honestly, I think it's fine, as long as you don't abuse it. So we have a few different categories. We have just like the mechanic and his cronies, some Prime Empire people, the ninja, and then the whack rats and other Prime Empire people. So here's starting off first to start with the ninja. Here is my custom Prime Empire Moro. So what I've decided is that Moro and Skylar should have been on the team from the start, or for a while at this point. And so I decided to kind of incorporate them in. So here we have Moro. He's essentially just takes one of the Prime Empire skins and it's painted. He's got the arm from his new Dragon's Rising figure. But it's a simple figure. It just uses the basis of the other stuff and painted. And I gave him this as his like digi weapon. I think it works well. He's definitely one of the weaker of the two, because Skylar actually looks really good, I think, with the like painted Kai. Here, let me see if I can get the light to focus. Here we go. Yeah, I gave her this like dual pronged sword, and it's just, I don't know, the orange looks really good, and I really wish we got her officially as a minifigure. But yeah. Then going on to Milton Dyer here. He uses just like a classic business suit, the Dumbledore hair, and then I don't know, this is I think an old city face. It's a very like generic in a sense, but also like not basic, like simple, I guess. Doesn't really look as modern. There's really no good face for him. Like, I went through Bricklink and looked at all the possibilities, and there were no really good ones, so I just had to pick the one I already had in my collection. But it works, you know, all things considered. Like, and I think also if you want to make him with like tan skin or a different skin tone, you can probably find a much better face. Like, you can honestly probably use like a Dumbledore face if that's the route you want to go. Going on then, Kid Unagami. Once again, like, I don't know, there were probably better pieces for him, but I just kind of went with what I had. So I just used like a classic kind of, it's a torso from the Ninjago movie. I think that's a J face, right? Hold on. No, it's not a J face. It looks like J, but it's not. And I just used his hair. So many possibilities you can do. I don't think there's the Pac-Man shirt that he uses. Correct me if I'm wrong. But once again, for this, like, it doesn't have to be super accurate. Now, next, I actually have my most accurate, my simplest, and my most boring custom, which is just normal Scott. It just uses the Scott minifigure, but with yellow hands. And then I use the, like, classic Lloyd face, which I think fits. All right, moving on, we have Racer 7, which just uses the face and the hair from the Ninjago City Markets. And then those legs are from, I believe, that is Legacy Tournament of Elements Lloyd. And I think it's just like a parka of like a mountain climber or something from City. I don't actually know exactly where it's from, but that's what it looks like. And it's not great, but like the options once again are limited. And I think it serves its purpose well. And once again with this, I was just kind of making it based off of the pieces I had in my collection. Aquino, I just wanted to toss in, even though nothing's really changed, but it's just that you can slip his sword into his satchel. And I just think that's a cool design thing, and I'm not sure if people know about it. Probably they do, but yeah, he's a cool figure. It's just the standard one. I'm not going to go into super in-depth into all of these. I just want to kind of show them off. Next, I just have two OCs that I wanted to toss in, which were two Serpentine Prime Empire characters. So one's a Racer. This one's a Racer. And I guess that maybe this could be used for Racer 7. I don't know. But yeah, it's just... And then the other one is just uses like this alien torso and the Clancy head. But they very much so look like they're out of Prime Empire. And so I wanted to toss them in. Okay, next, moving on, we have the Mechanic. And so I put the Doc Ock arms on him. Shout out to Sam's Brick Lab for giving me the idea. But it's very useful, you know, you can have him holding stuff and then he can be blasting or whatever. And then here, okay, so I think, well, the minifigure we got from the markets, or from the gardens, is good. They really did mess up with the arm. Like, I understand maybe not wanting to make a head mold, but there's so many things they could have done with the arm. Like, they could have just recolored, I don't know if this gauntlet comes in gold or not, but they could have recolored it in gold and put it on. Or the best option would be to use the Jack McHammer arm. It's been used in like several different characters. I know Space Benny used it. I know a robot from a certain minifigure series used it. And I thought it was retired, but at this point I think not anymore. It does not come in gold, but it comes in yellow. So it can work for like whatchamacallit, for people if they want to paint it, or it does come in gunmetal gray. And so if people want to use that for like crystallized, then for crystallized Mechanic, then they can. But it's the perfect piece, right? Like it's not perfect, but it looks enough like the arm, and it already exists. I have it. I'll just show you a picture of one of the... If you see here, sorry, my computer's very dirty, but it's that arm. Recolor that in gold, and that would be perfect for Mechanic. Like, yeah, I don't know. I'm pissed that they didn't do that, but you can give him the gauntlet if you want, and then you can obviously have him like with it in his hand, and it's, you know, he's still a good minifigure to have, and it's a lot better than nothing, but it's still kind of disappointing. The face print and the torso printing is perfect, and I am glad that they gave him dual molded legs. So there is that. Okay, so next off, I'm just gonna quickly show. I made a couple cronies. Well, one of them is the official one from the markets, or from the gardens, sorry, which is her. But it's just, you know, you can make Ninjago crooks out of a lot. Like, you can use crook torsos, if you want, or you can use just like
either that kind of mask and like the sweater, or just like that kind, because they do usually appear not in prison uniforms unless they've been in Cryptarium, and like that's where they are. So, and then finally we have like the whack rats and stuff. So first off, I want to show, this is just me repurposing a probe droid to be like the little box collection ones. Drones, obviously there are so many better drones, but this is just like a fun repurposing if you want to do it without like making anything new. And then we have the whack rat. So like I said, I painted them. I know that's controversial, but I think it looks really good. We have this blue one here, which just uses like this one, which is kind of a bigger version of Richie's, I believe. Wait, which one's Richie? Which one's Hosner? I actually don't remember. Regardless. Then we've got the purple one, and they use this hair, which I like. And then my favorite hair-wise is the red one that I did, because it actually uses the mohawk like we see in the show. I just use a stud because it's too, because it doesn't actually fit on without it. But it looks really good, and I don't know, I really like the look of that. Hopefully we'll get some more whack rat minifigures, because we keep seeing them in Dragon's Rising, but unlikely. And then I guess final thing that I wanted to mention, if we pan back over here, is that with the mechanic using the Doc Ock arms, you can pose him climbing in here, right? So you put there, and then, I don't know, you grab onto here or something. It's not clicking on, but that should... It's not clicking on, but you can do it. I had it on earlier. There we go. And so you can have him just kind of hovered, and then you can, I don't know, grab one of your ninja, and you can have her fight him, and it just looks good. Okay, yeah, so that is my review of my custom Ninjago City extension, the Ninjago City Plaza. This is the first review mock review of mine that I'm posting, so I hope you all enjoyed. I put both a lot of effort into this mock and a little effort into the video. But yeah, let me know what you think of it. If you want to see more mocks of this scale, if you want me to do an upgrade video. And I'll see you all next time. Have a great day. Also, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, etc. Adieu.